What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, we got to talk about some new studios and a new, it seems, initiative from Hasbro. Now, look, let me say one thing very early on this video. This is our way of getting Transformers back, and when I say Transformers, I mean one specific duology, or whatever you would want to call it. Transformers, of course, War and Fall, right, of Cybertron. Why in God's name? Well, actually, there's a lot of reasons why they stopped, and a lot has happened since. But if this is our path to one day getting these games back, oh, I am all in. But no, honestly, the initiative here is some teams that are going to be given a lot of time to do what they want, seemingly very different type of games, and that they're in it. They're in it to win it, I guess. So let's read this tweet from Shinobi. It kind of breaks things down. It breaks down the studios themselves, and then we'll talk about it. So, report, Hasbro is making a huge jump into video games. 4 internal AAA studios so far, over $1 billion invested in it. One is, of course, Exodus, which is a game we have seen and definitely heard quite a bit about. That's maybe the closest one of this group, right? Sci-fi RPG Exodus, and they give the studio. Snake Eyes G.I. Joe game, Dungeons and Dragons game, and then a horror game. And they say portfolio of games goes much, much larger than anything we're talking about right now. Goal is to be authentic and focused on quality so players trust in the company. Hasbro has a very deliberate plan to give their teams the time to get the games right. Everything's going to stay in the oven as long as it needs to. And leadership at Atomic Arcade, which is the G.I. Joe one, worked on Batman Arkham Asylum, looking with Snake Eyes to do for that character something similar to what the Arkham games did with Batman. So that's big. Even if you just take a look at that last part, right? Like, if you can get a Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Batman Arkham game. Now, it's not exactly what they say, but I'm not necessarily even putting 2 and 2 together, but you kind of are, right? So, like, if people that are working on it also did the Arkham games, and then you also have that saying that, you know, it's going to maybe be somewhat similar in terms of the impact that it had, it would not be crazy at all if the game that we got was a Arkham style. You had that kind of free flow combat type game. That would be rad. But regardless, like, you know, this is the type of video I like to make, right? And this is actually something, it's not exactly what I've said in the past, but, you know, I've long talked about, okay, well, you know, with all these games taking 5, 6, 7 years to come out, right? What would really be helpful for content creation or just as gamers, right? To just have more to play and maybe not have so many dead months, you know, back to back, or even dead years. You could make games in 3 years, 4 years, form these AA teams. You know, you get a team formed every couple months from veterans from Naughty Dog and veterans from BioWare. What, you know, like, you always see those kind of pop up. This isn't exactly that, because these are seemingly big AAA games, but it's kind of coming from left field. I'm pointing to my right, but it's also left. You know what I mean? You're getting something that you're not really expecting. 4 new teams, 4 new games, a new company that is, like, interested, right, and, like, trying to give it a go, I guess. You do have to do it right, but, you know, the report makes it sound good. Now, you know, reports can definitely make things sound better than they actually are, but that report did say all the right things, right? Like, you have to have people trust you, especially if you're just starting out and you want to have these big AAA games. You got to start out where people are like, okay, like, I get what you're trying to get. Honestly, a good example is Shift Up for Stellar Blade. Now, they've made other games before it, but this was like their first jump, and there is a respect and there is a trust that needs to be built, at least for, like, us hardcore people, right, like, that live online. There needs to be that, and you only get that, like, your first go around. So I do understand that. I kind of get where they're coming from with it. And then, like, having the games take as long as they need to. Well, that kind of goes hand in hand, because you don't want to rush, right? Like, if it's your first go, and these are the studio's first goes, you don't want to have the first game be a mess. If you do that, you're done. Like, that studio, you know what I mean? It's hard to rebound from one big mistake in the gaming industry. It's even harder to rebound from one big mistake when it's your first big mistake, or it's your first thing that you're doing and then you make a big mistake on it. Very hard to come back from that. So that's something you would hope they know and hope they would say, and then they said it, or at least the report said it, right? So I'm thrilled, you know, like, a, you know, joke in the beginning, but, like, okay, if this is your way of getting Transformers back, that's not listed, but, you know, I'd be willing to listen. I'd be willing to, like, hear them out. That's one thing. But then also, these games sound very, very cool. Even, like, the horror one, actually all 4 of them sound like something that I would give a go and try to cover to the best of my ability. So let me know what you guys think about all of these games in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.